Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Empower Man Podcast. It's your boy, Mikey G, coming to you live from the free state of Florida. It's Saturday night, and I feel all right. Tonight, I am joined by the man who's living in the communist state of Connecticut. He is the freedom fighter, the zealot, the patriot, the family man. He is the champion of the Second Amendment. He doesn't need any further introductions. You just got to refer to him as the man. Greg A. Tedora, numero uno. Sir, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, Mike. Glad to make it another week. Very grateful.
Yeah. Well, we had some fun this week, didn't we?
Just a bit.
That's a great place. I tell you, Hobe Sound is beautiful. To anybody out there that's looking to take their family away for a wonderful little getaway, man, Hobe Sound is awesome. That's a great little town, man. It's a great little
But don't tell too many people. I want to keep it that way. You want to keep it that way. It's getting popular.
Florida's bracing for, and we're bracing for a little surge in, we call them newcomers. Is that what they're supposed to be called now? From Haiti.
Call them whatever you want.
So our boy DeSantis has the National Guard out, so he's ready to rock and roll. So just some interesting stuff going on. We're already halfway through March, which means April's on the horizon, which means we have 7 more months to the election, which means we got hold on tight, folks, because it's going to be a heck of a year.
Yeah, and whoever comes in next.
Yeah,
it's gonna affect the next couple months after November as well into the new year. So it'll be an interesting ride, that's for sure. Just be ready for anything, and if nothing happens, great. At least you were prepared. So
yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that I see with people, especially our family members, at least my family members anyway. I don't think they're really fully prepared, or they have a clue as to what could happen. And they're not taking precautions. Like, we're not conspiracy theorists. We're not, it's just common sense. If you just pay attention, it's just common sense. But we're probably the ones that are driving the narrative of conspiracy. So who knows?
Of course. As always.
As always on the Empower Man Podcast, I want to give a shout out to our policemen and women, our firemen and women, our first responders, our EMTs, our National Guard, any volunteer or anyone getting paid, or whatever their genre of first respondents is. Thank you for serving us. Thank you for protecting us. Thank you for keeping our local cities and municipalities and our states safe and sound. We love you.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the military personnel here and overseas, all the contractors, all the boys. Be careful. Watch your backs. Get home safe to us. Thank you for providing a place where we can do this. You are very, very welcomed and respected by us.
Yes. And I am wearing a Four Seasons hat, the Ocean Club.
I see that.
If you're ever in Paradise Island in the Bahamas, it is exactly what it is. It is a paradise. I mean, I can still just conjure up images of watching the sunrise, having a cup of coffee, and just staring at the ocean. And just, it's one of the reasons why I moved to Florida, to have the ocean like 8 minutes from your place of residence is truly a blessing. Truly.
I might have sunk a jet ski in college there. Allegedly. Anyway, moving right along.
Allegedly. It's the greatest word.
I think I'm past the statute of limitations, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sunk that thing real quick.
Well, I mean, it all depends. Maybe the Department of Justice have you on a watch list, because you never know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You never know.
As you can see, I'm concerned.
Yes. Well, they're waiting to release those 87,000 IRS agents. They're waiting for it. Once Biden wins in the fall, because I don't believe there'll be a fair election. Once Biden wins in the fall, they're going to come out. It's game on, man. So just saying.
Yeah.
But
Can't
anyhow,
get blood from a stone.
You can't. You
Nope.
can't. And I wish they would. I wish they would put 87,000 people on the border to protect us. But
No. Mike,
you know,
there's no border problem. Stop. It's all in your head.
yeah. And you know, if you can take yourself out of that situation for a minute, nobody wins in the situation. The people come across that swamp or whatever it is, they're risking their lives, their family lives, especially children. I have two kids. I mean, they're the way they treat these babies and these children. Like, so how do you do that to a child? I mean, how do you do that to a human being, let alone a child? It's beyond me. It's beyond me. So,
Yeah.
moving on. Greg, tonight we're going to talk about the word sorry.
Mm.
And I think sorry gets used so often for the wrong things, for sometimes the right things. I think people use sorry as a mask, just to appease. Like sorry could be a term for appeasement because they're afraid to speak their truth, or they're afraid that their voice may not be heard or their opinion may not matter. So I think as a defense mechanism, sorry tends to be spoken about quite often. I am guilty of this, and that's why I want to talk to you about this tonight. As I'm so quick to say sorry. It could be like you could spill your water, Greg, and I'm sorry. And you could be like, well, Mike, why are you saying you're sorry for? Because that's just a natural.
Yeah.
I've been doing it since I was little, and that I got that from my mother, who is sorry for everything because she just tries to keep peace, and she's an appeasement. And I love my mother to death. I'm not saying anything bad or disrespectful, but these how we talk about childhood and behavior and what your children are conditioned to. When you're able to really take a step back and understand where behavior comes from. Now, we're not saying your mom and dad are the reasons for your life. That's not what we're saying. It gives you an understanding as an explanation as to where that came from and how to correct it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important for us to say. A lot of people, especially in today's world, they pass the buck. They don't take accountability for their actions. They're so quick to blame. Oh, well, it's my mom's fault because she didn't do this for me. No.
Yeah.
Our parents did the best they could with the skill they got. But we can understand, hey, you're not your mother. You're not your mother. You're not your father. You're not your father. That's their stuff. I think you can attest to this being a parent. Wouldn't you say it's really important that you don't pass on your stuff to your children and let your children be themselves? Is that, or do you splash a little Greggy T in there with your child's natural development and how they find themselves in the personality?
Well, I think the good parts of Greggy T, the few that there are, I tend to sprinkle them in, but my own issues or things I'm always working on, no, I try not to let them bleed into their lives because
Right.
I try to remove that from them so they just can get the better stuff. So we're talking about sorry. Little kids have a hard time saying sorry. As young as they are, even though when they know they do wrong, you have to explain to them that's not right. And would you want that done to you? And usually when it's no, please say sorry. And then they always, not always, most of the time, they'll just like say it under their breath. They're like, sorry. Like, no.
Right.
Look them in the eye. Pronounce your word. Listen, you have no problem pronouncing your words when you want ice cream. Let's use our words and pronounce it correctly. Look them in the eye, show them respect, and say, I'm sorry. And then you have to tell the other one, say, thank you for apologizing. I'm constantly saying, use your words. Something that wasn't always good at, ever. I'm getting better at it, but I'm not good at it yet. But it helps teaching them, and it checks you pretty fast. So use your words. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'll do you one. So when I was growing up, I used to get made fun of because I said I was sorry to one of my coaches, and then one of the kids saw it. And then when I used to ride the bus, I would get picked on a lot. And when you're a kid and you get picked on for that, like
they picked on you for saying sorry to your coach.
Yeah, I got picked on for a while. Yeah,
Okay.
because when you're around anxiety and depression, it kind of rubs off on you. So I think a lot of kids saw that in me, and they would connotate that word with me being, having that. So it was kind of a perfect storm, especially as, when you're young, to, get made fun of. Right. So how did you
Yeah.
handle it?
hmm
I handle it because I used to get that pit in my stomach. Like I got anxious, I got nervous because I was getting made, and I felt like I had nowhere to go. And then there was a part of me that was like, if I wanted to, I could go get a chair. And I've been watching wrestling since I was 4 years old, and
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't know how to work a chair. So
Yep.
there was a lot of anger and rage built up, And then as you get older, you realize, well, when kids are that age, how people are they're cruel. It's not like playbook when they're raised better, but they act a certain way. Like my mom raised me better, but I acted like a jerk.
Me too.
Who didn't?
Same here.
That's how it was. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I actually, so like sometimes when I say sorry, I'll have flashbacks to that as a kid getting picked on. Not like like shock, but but bring it back to bump. It's been one of those nights, folks. I got to tell you, it's
Yes,
been
it
a
has.
wonderful night for technology. So, it's one of those things that we have to really understand what sorry means.
Yeah.
Greg, when you say you're sorry to someone, what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Like, what does sorry mean to you? Like, what does it mean? Like you can get taken out of context quite easily.
Yeah, I can. I just try to I try to if I really did mess up or I don't know, hurt somebody's feelings or say something wrong, which I do often, I think I just an apology to me is just that. Listen, sorry. I'm sorry. And when I do, I don't say it all the time, but when I do something wrong and I say it, I mean it. And people know I mean what I say. So it's just the right thing to do. And it's like you said before, it's kind of the ultimate self accountability. So that's that's my opinion.
Yeah, to me, sorry is it's kind of like it comes from the heart. You
Yeah.
want to say you're sorry, because you're genuinely sorry. Sometimes I'll say sorry just to kind of like, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I think you can use sorry in that sense when you show compassion and empathy towards someone. But we got to make
Yeah.
sure that we don't use sorry as a way of appeasement. How can one delineate between using the word sorry for appeasement versus not letting their truth be spoken?
I want you to answer that because that's a great question. How would you
Okay.
answer that?
Well, now I'm having I've had a really weird night with my technology. So I am sorry to everyone out there and to you, Greg and T, for this camera. See, there's sorry right there. So, which I genuinely am, because some things are within my control, some things are out of my control. I'm back. I'm glad I shaved my nose hairs. Okay. So when I think sorry for appeasement, there's a fear behind it. I'm afraid to get ruffle feathers. I'm afraid to get someone mad at me. I'm afraid to have someone upset at me. Right. When I say, oh, Greg, I'm sorry. Instead of just saying, hey, listen, man, this really bothered me. And respectfully, I think there's a way when you approach someone and you broach something, you have to come from a place of like respect. And we always talk about that. Like, I'm not going to apologize for my feelings, but I'm going to communicate respectfully how I feel. Now, if I mess up and you say, well, Mike, you did this, and I'm like, oh, wow, you know what? You think about it. You're right. And this happened to me up at the wrestling show I did. I talked to a friend of mine and I kind of gave him a few hints as to what he was doing tonight and things he called him a fly. My buddy found out about it. He got pissed off at me. And then I got pissed off back at him. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I took a second. I stopped. And I'm like, wow, I see it from his point of view. Because I still have that fire in me where I so quickly react. Right? So I have to catch myself. And then I pulled him aside. Listen, I want you to know that I'm genuinely sorry. I take accountability for the way I handled it because I realized from your perspective where that came from. I wasn't saying sorry out of appeasement.
Mm-hmm.
I communicated how I felt, but after I took a step back, I realized, hey, I was in the wrong. And I think people need to like really take a step back when they're in a situation and assess it, ascertain it. Do I really have to apologize for something? Or am I afraid of getting someone mad at me?
Yeah.
Like, and in that situation, I was wrong. And nobody takes accountability for anything anymore. So it's really hard to have those conversations these days because everyone's so quick to pass the buck. Where are you on this topic, Greg? Where are you on this?
No, that's a great way to answer it. I think people understand that. That's a good example because I also think some people demand an apology for the wrong reasons. It's like a dominance or a power display, like, oh, I just want an apology. Like they don't even care that it's authentic or genuine, or they probably don't even remember why there was a problem, but they just want that, that piss on the hydrant type of, they apologized to me. And that's not authentic in my opinion. So I don't know if I should say this example, but a long time ago was pulled over in Florida in Parkland. And I was the designated driver, so that's what you're taught to do, and that's what the police tell you to do. And it was a young cop and pulled over and just was not nice and not professional, and I was young, and words were exchanged, and then step out of the car, and wasn't a routine stop. Let's put it that way. So then other officers came and like separated me, and I talked to one of the older cops, and he's like, what's going on? And I told him the truth, like it is what it is. And he's like, okay. And he's like, you're doing the right thing, being the designated driver. I'm like, yeah, I know. You guys tell us to do this. Here I am doing it. And then you have this guy over here like busting my balls and getting in my face, which I don't appreciate. I don't care if you're a cop or not. And he was like, okay, let me go talk to him, and we'll figure this out. Don't worry. And whatever, comes back and he's like, all right, you're good to go, but you have to apologize to him. No. He's like, what? He's like, you're free to go. You just got to do that one thing. I'm like, no, I won't do it. He's like, well, then we can get you on certain things. I'm like, then do it. He's like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I'm being straight with you. If anything, he should apologize to me because he blew this way out of proportion, was completely unprofessional, and I'm willing to take it. And so I stood ground, and I knew when I drew the line in the sand, I knew it could be a problem for me if they wanted to. Like they legit could have had certain things, right or wrong. And then his boss came. Like this turned out to be like a freaking, should have been on TV. The big boss came and talked to him and told him the same story, because there really is no story. And I wasn't even speeding. I did nothing. I think it was a car I was in. You know how my old Guido mobiles used to be, but like tint and blackout lights, all that. But I told the big boss same story, and he's like, okay. He's like, then why are you here? Why are we here? I'm like, I just want to go home. I'm just trying to bring my friends home, whatever. And he's like, okay, well, what did they tell you? I'm like, they told me to apologize. And he's like, okay, what are your thoughts on that? I'm like, you're here because I said no to that. I'm not apologizing. I didn't do anything wrong. If I did something wrong, I'll take it. I will take it on the chin at this point. Do you think I'd be digging in at 3 a.m? I just want to go home. And long story short, he was cool, and he was like, all right, go. Let you go. So my whole point to all this is apologies to me are a big deal they should be a big deal, because if you truly did something wrong, okay, own it. It's fine. Apologize. But I also am maybe too stubborn and whatever. I'm not going to just blanket apologize because somebody needs or wants to hear it. I'm not going to apologize if I didn't do anything wrong. And I don't do that. I can't stand that. So.
Yeah. And I would have apologized. Because I would have been
That
afraid
depends,
of.
Mike. That depends.
But there's an example of, you drew, in your mind, you drew that line in your sand, right? You weren't
Yeah.
going to cross it. And I think a lot
No.
of people, myself included, I would have caved in.
I mean,
I
that's
would have
kind of an
caved in.
extreme situation, but I feel very passionate. I'm not going to apologize to anybody, regardless who they are, if I didn't do anything wrong. I don't see why. Just because you need to hear it, I'm not down for that. No, I'm not down.
You made a good point. A lot of people want to hear that word sorry as
Yeah.
a dominance thing, as a validation,
Hmm.
just to prove that they're
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
The Bible talks a lot about humility. And a lot of people, I think, will apologize, I think, out of humility. I think, because you do want to keep peace. But again, I think those that are seeking the apology need to humble themselves a little bit and realize, like, hey, listen, I I shouldn't expect someone to apologize to me.
Yep.
If I get an apology, but we don't know what that person's going through. And it's not like in the heat of the battle, we're going to be thinking, okay, time out. You've had a checkered past. You've had a rough childhood. We don't think about that in the heat of the moment. But
Yeah.
that's when we can, and I'm guilty of this. I'm very emotional. I keep my heart on my sleeve, know what I'm thinking at all times.
Same.
And it's tough for me to kind of like, when I'm in it, and then I have to take a step back, which I
Hmm.
normally do, and I normally have to apologize because I didn't think before I spoke. Shocker. So, that's why we have these conversations. Like I was telling a friend of mine last night, we talk about things that guys and girls face. We're
Every
conversation
day.
starters. We get the
Yep.
conversation going. We started. We didn't start the
Hmm.
fire. Well, Greg and I started the fire.
Hmm.
Right. So, and
100%.
this is a great way of really taking that term, putting it out there and breaking it down, because sorry has so many layers to it.
Yeah.
And, Greg, where do you think that thought process of drawing that line and saying, how did you acquire that thought process, even at that age, stick to your gun to say, you know what, even though I am, there's someone that's superior to me in a social rank as a cop or someone of that stature. How did you have the confidence to stand your ground?
I think it's probably my upbringing, and I was taught if you fuck up or if you make a mistake, own it, and if it warrants an apology, to give that respectful apology. I was also brought up to stand your ground and not just be a doormat or a a person that just easily rolls over because somebody's trying to assert their dominance or just take advantage of you. And that was a situation where I didn't care. Also, we've spoken about this in the past. I used to be a swimmer back in the day, and some of the older kids call it hazing, or call it wasn't so much hazing till college, but maybe the term now bullying, which I'm not really a big fan of that word, but it was picked on, made fun of, roughed
No.
up a bit, which I'm a fan of that to a degree. Obviously, there's a line you just don't cross, which can get,
Right.
pretty extreme. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about your normal, just, you know, um, hazing or I don't want to say abuse because that word is way too heavy, but like, the older guys, like, knock around the younger guys and smack them
Right.
around a bit and just, assert their dominance or whatever. And
Of course.
I think that helps build character, and that ties into apologizing and not apologizing. And because, I tie it into that example I gave, that cop, very young, whatever. And I think that he was more of like on a power play because he was a cop and he was trying to,
Right.
and I think being brought up the way I was, where if I did something wrong, I'm going to apologize. But if I didn't do something wrong, I'm going to stand my ground. And then add to that, I really stand my ground because I had to when I was being bullied or whatever. We'll just use that word by the older kids. I'm not tolerating that, period, no matter what the repercussions are. and I was just willing to dig in and take a stand for myself. That's it.
I think that's awesome, and I think again we show the importance of the nuclear family, and we show the importance of when you break that down and you're trying to tear that apart, it can become a real challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's great. To have that instilled in you is awesome. And I think as men, you're never too old. It's never too late to start, rewiring your way of thinking.
Yeah, for
I know
sure.
when I'm in the heat of the battle, especially, not to smarten people up, but when I'm in a wrestling match and something goes awry, whether you potato somebody, whether you do, I'm always quick to say, sorry, man, you good? You okay? I
Mm.
always check on that to make sure my guy is all right, because it's a different thought process now than it was years ago. I was always taught to take care of your opponent. Your
Hmm.
opponent's safety is more important, than your own safety.
Yep.
And I think that mentality still is there, but I also think it's different
Mm-hmm.
in the presentation and the thought process. The things evolve and things change, and not to go off on a tangent, but in sports, in life, things change, things evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a certain we'll just say realness, I guess. I mean, it's magician never reveals his tricks, but
Yeah.
I think now with people knowing certain things about the wrestling business, that there needs to be a certain level of real maneuvers
Yeah.
so that people can buy into it. And I think, when you're saying sorry, obviously you want to make it real. You don't want to make it half hearted, but you have to believe, again, like you stood your ground, you did nothing wrong. When you say you're sorry, it has to come from a place of real contrite, real, a real, state of, I guess, humanity. Like you have to be sincere about your apologies. I'm not just
Yeah.
going to apologize for what I didn't do.
Nope.
Whereas, maybe in the past I would have, because I was afraid of like, ruffling feathers. As you get
Mm-hmm.
older and you evolve, like, I own up to things very, very quickly. Hey, listen, I made a mistake. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say sorry just because I don't want to like, get somebody upset, or I don't want to like,
Yeah.
sometimes, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I think people now, if you disagree with the status quo, or if you do ruffle someone's feathers in a way where their opinion, or they feel they become inferior to you, now the gloves are off, because people are so defensive these days. So how do you, Greg, combat that when people come at you defensively?
Um, I usually there's only there's not too many people in my circle that do this, so I don't have to deal with it, and I try to
Right.
keep it that way because I don't like that, and I think
Yeah.
that's, I don't want to say
Yeah.
weakness, but it's a little bit of weakness on them, on their part. But if someone's always coming at you defensively or whatever, it's a turn off, and I actually feel bad for the person, and I want to help them with their confidence. Tie this into when I was, managing the real estate office, and a bunch of different personalities and different levels of income. Some made a ton of money, and some barely made any money, and some did great, some did okay. And the one thing, because I would have one-on-one meetings every month with everybody, I would take the time, and because we go over goal setting and all that. But my big thing was their mindset, because when I sat somebody down, within 3 sentences, 4 sentences out of their mouth, I knew if they were mentally strong or defensive, like you just said, apologizing, like, oh, did you do your call? Did you do what you needed, what you and I went over to, get to your goal? No, I didn't do it. I'm sorry. I'm like, stop. Stop. I'm not your parent, I'm not your teacher. I'm trying to help you. And you don't have to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. You just didn't do what you said you were going to do. There's a difference. And when you quickly apologize, that's going to come out in your day to day, your personal life, your business life. You're going to get in front of clients that are looking for a strong professional leader that's going to be in charge of hundreds, if not millions of dollars selling their home. The last thing they want is somebody that's, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like soft like that. Now, I'm not saying say be a bull and just steamroll through things and be the hard sell, but it'll reflect your confidence. And so I'd always stop people, like, stop apologizing. Stop apologizing. If you apologize again, this meeting's over and we can redo it. And it finally broke some people down. And I had to reschedule some meetings because I ended it. And when I did that, something clicked in their brain, like, oh wow, he's not kidding. But they understood I was trying to help them. I wasn't being like a dick. And they slowly got it. And you can just see their business and their mentality and everything just gets stronger and better. And you hear them on the phone. Now I hear them talking to other experienced agents in the office. And I'm like, that's what's up. I'm listening to everything. They don't think I'm paying attention. And I'm like, you're a killer now. And I love that. I want a whole office of killers. But you can't be a killer if you're just going around apologizing for shit.
Yeah, it becomes infectious, right? You got one, and then it goes to the next, to the next, to the next.
It breeds weakness.
Yeah.
I go, if you did something wrong, apologize. No problem. No problem. But if you didn't do anything wrong, I don't want to hear it. There's no reason to apologize.
But let's go with that for a second. Is saying you're sorry a sign of weakness or a sign of strength in your eyes?
It's both, because it depends. If you did fuck up, yeah, you're a strong enough person to take it on the chin, have some accountability, and apologize. However, vice versa, it is a sign of weakness if there's absolutely no reason those words came out of your mouth. Why are you saying sorry? And I would stop them and I would ask them that, why are you apologizing? And 99.9% of the time, there's a long pause and they look around because they don't even know why they do it. It's so natural to them. And I got to cut that out like a cancer for how they communicate to people. It's both. It's both.
Why do you think people are so... okay. Why do you think people are so lax? I was trying to think of the right word. Why do you think people are so lax in taking responsibility for what they do and their own outcomes?
They just don't want to face the music, and everyone wants to be praised, and everyone wants to be perfect and look perfect and have the optics of Instagram. And oh, look at me, my life is so good, I'm perfect, I don't make any mistakes, I don't do anything, I shit gold, and I don't sweat when I work out. Like, it's all just, to me, to maintain the facade. That's my opinion. And I just think people can't take criticism or the fact that they're wrong. They just can't take it. Maybe they weren't,
right.
Maybe they're too egotistical for it. We've had bosses like that, and we've had owners of companies like that. You know, they just want to be around one big echo chamber. They want a room full of yes men, even when they know, and the whole room knows, it's completely the wrong decision. You're going to lose a shit ton of money, shit ton of clients, but they just want to hear yes. They don't want to own it that it's wrong. And then when it does get wrong, it's past the buck, and it's their other person that they delegated it to, that it's their fault it went wrong. It's like, no, everything comes from the top. Sorry. Captain of the ship, and it goes down from there. So, but a lot of these owners have the luxury of looking like $1 million even when they made the complete wrong decision. It's the owners and the company people that learn from their mistakes that continue on in the business and make money and adapt. It's the ones that just stay stagnant and they don't modernize. They're not fluid with the industry and the times. That just it's death by 1,000 cuts. So that's my opinion.
As a leader, have you ever had to apologize to some of your people that work with you or underneath you?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. A lot of times, and I would do that. I didn't personally do anything wrong, speaking of our examples, but I had to apologize to save the morale of the office because a decision or a product was passed down so completely wrong or bad, but they had to use it. Yeah, I'm going to apologize to save those people from all quitting and going down the street to another office. So there are times where I had to do that, and I just took it for the company and for the better and I agree with like the agents. I agree with the agents. This is wrong. It looks horrible. Like this is horrible. Worst decision. But I'm their leader and I don't agree with it. But you know what? It's not my company. It's not my name on the door. I got to do what I'm told to do and just take it and dish it out. It's like orders in the military. The head guy might make the worst decision, but listen, it's passed down and you got to do it. You got to go run across the field in the middle of gunfire. It's a bad decision. People are going to get torn up, but you know what? You got to do it. And that's it. So,
I don't know about you, but I find when it comes to customer service, especially when I have to call to complain about something, which drives me nuts. Yeah. It really does, because I think everyone is so coached now where they apologize. It's a script. And I don't want to hear sorry when I have an issue. I want solutions.
Yeah.
How are you going to get this to me? And I'm going to say it, and I hate saying this right now. Lemonade, I have pet insurance. Lemonade stinks. When I have to go on the phone constantly, when they tell you that things, when someone tells me it's going to get done, I expect it to get done. Right?
Absolutely.
If you tell me I'm going to have it done in 48 hours, okay, no problem. Now, if something comes up, Mike, I'm sorry, this came up, I'll have it done. Okay, just communicate with me. Just tell me so I know what to expect. Can I help you get it done? Right? You might help with something, and I've always lived up to that type of mindset when I'm at work. Hey, listen, I'll get it done in 48 hours. If I don't get it done, hey, listen, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm getting it done, So you communicate and validate that person and say, hey, I don't want to be like, if I call Lemonade, and let's say their customer service is based out of Manila in the Philippines, and I have someone in another country apologizing for something they know nothing about, because that's the way they're coached, and they're making really good money, compared to what people make in the States. And I get why companies outsource their stuff.
Of course.
Totally get it. But I don't like be pacified by some scripted apology or some scripted sorry because of incompetence. Just let me know when I can expect my refund.
I hear you.
Just let me know when I can expect things. Like,
I'm
I don't
sorry
mind
you're
saying
experiencing
I'm sorry
that. Yeah, first, I'm sorry you experienced
that.
No, you're not.
But are you really sorry? Like,
no, you don't give a shit.
And I call people out on it. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Just give me. I just want answers.
Yep. People pay for results. That's it. In any industry, at the end of the day, I'm paying for a result.
Now, like I mentioned last week, the best customer service I ever had in my life, she apologized for what I was going through, and she helped me. See, that's this thing. You can say, Greg, I'm sorry you're feeling this.
Yep. Yeah.
Greg, I'm sorry you're feeling this way, but I'm going to work with you to kind of help you get, even if I didn't get on that flight, the fact that she took the time to spend with me. And by the way, JetBlue has still yet to send me a survey, so I have to call them, or maybe I'll reach out to the CEO and I'll go right to the top and say what a wonderful person that helped me out. Blythe, B-L-Y-T-H-E, Beta DCA, JetBlue. That woman, they should have every person like her, because this employee of this human being was phenomenal. And I think when we're in business and we apologize for things, you can acknowledge someone's feelings. 100% get it. Greg, I'm sorry you're feeling this way. Let's work together to come up with a plausible solution. In my business, I have ironclad contracts, and I do apologize for that. It's like, listen, I am sorry. You do have to pay, but let's work together, because now more than ever, times are tight. And I think people that want return business, you have to be amiable to the fact, like, hey, listen, Greg, you have to pay, but let's work together, like, get you the outcome that we're both looking
Yep.
for. And no one does that anymore.
Let me
What are
find
your
you
thoughts
some
on that, Greg?
options. Just give me options. I'm not saying they have to be great options, but at least give me some things that I can choose. So I hear you. I completely agree with you on that. It's in every industry too. I'm in real estate, and a big lawsuit has just gone down, and NAR, the National Association of Realtors, that's a shit organization if you ask me, but most people agree. And now there's this whole big commissions thing came out. I'm not going to get into all the nitty gritty, but not all, a lot, most agents are panicking. Most agents are freaking out because normally the seller pays technically both commissions, the buyer and the seller agent's commissions. So you list your house 5 or 6%. That 5 or 6% is usually split. Call it 5. So you have 2.5 to the seller's agent, 2.5 to the buyer's agent. That brings the buyer. Now, like, all bets are off, and the sellers don't have to pay out. They can just keep it themselves, which everyone's like, oh my God, like, that's just. Listen, whether it's good or bad for the industry, I feel both ways on it. It's both good and bad for the consumers because a lot of people are going to get screwed. However, I've personally been using buyer agency agreements where buyers will pay me to represent them as a buyer. So I don't have to worry if the seller's agent is going to pay out. But what does that mean at the end of the day? Everyone's freaking out and panicking because now you have to be accountable and be good at your job. So if you're panicking and freaking out, it's usually for a reason, because your service, like you were just saying, is not up to par. You're not a good agent. You don't know the laws. You don't know how to talk and educate people. And in this instance, this is great because it's going to literally filter out all the shitty agents one by one. Slowly, you're going to just see an exit. Everyone, bye-bye. All these bartenders that got their license for fun, or, I'm not hating on that, but every Tom, Dick, and Harry is a real estate license, bye-bye. The professionals, the cream, will rise, which is awesome because they know what they're doing, and the professionalism will completely now dominate all these shit people that just, clogged up the system. So in that instance, I think it's good. And at the end of the day, customer service, whether you're representing buyer or seller, is the name of the game. You have to provide value, and that's it. So everyone's up in arms. Everyone's freaking out and emailing me and calling me. Oh my God, what do you think? It doesn't matter what I think. This just passed. So I can say it's great. I can say it sucks. It doesn't matter. You better adapt to it and figure out and maybe tweak your business plan where you can go with the flow. So if you don't, you're going to be just trampled on, and you're going to lose a lot of money, and you're going to be washed out within a year of the business. So, and another thing, speaking of real estate,
right?
You have a lot of people complaining about the market and, oh, all my clients are on the sidelines. Like, I have no business. What do I do? I read something great today, and I completely agree with it. Then you're not doing a good job educating them, because there are deals happening. Look at all the closed transactions every month in your town or in whatever market you work in. Those numbers are cranked out. Someone's making money. People are buying. People are selling. You just didn't adapt properly. You're not doing proper marketing. You're being lazy. There's a million different reasons. But you know what? People are doing business. When that number turns to zero, okay, then you can talk. But it's not. And people lose sight of all that. They want to easily complain like, oh, everyone's down, no one's busy. What? Someone's busy because you had 52 closings last month in Stanford or whatever it is. I'm just saying someone's busy. That's a lot. That's a lot. And it's the same killers doing it month in, month out. They're not complaining. So sorry, I'm not sorry.
Right. And I think, the last area to touch base, this is going to be kind of tricky, especially when you're dealing with your partner or a specific significant other or a guy or a girl that you like, I think people are quick to say sorry because they don't want to ruffle the other person's feathers. They want to keep peace. They don't want to like get into it. I think our experiences are a little bit different.
Are they?
Well, I've been known to be less tolerant of things because in regards to my relationship history, obviously, you've more relationship wise, my relationships crash and burn like a shooting star. Here they go on tomorrow.
Well,
and I apologize for when I'm wrong. Even to the relationships I do have, I've always, again, but those are part of my values. Like you said, you F up, you need to own up to it. I think, that correlates with, friendships, which I often do to you. I will say that when I screw up and you're like, what are you apologizing for? Because in my heart of hearts, I know I did something wrong. I felt like I did something wrong. And I felt like, well, you know what, let me take ownership of that, and I think that's a good thing to have, especially, when it comes to girls. I think a lot of girls aren't used to guys taking accountability for their stuff. I think, especially as you get older, more people get more jaded. Am I off track here, or am I onto something here?
I agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. I think, listen, as we get older, we definitely get more jaded, but it's also, jaded is not all bad. Jaded is also based off experiences, good, bad, or whatever. So maybe jaded is too harsh of a word. Maybe you're just more savvy, or you're just more aware of certain things because we've been through so many different things.
Yeah.
And, I listen to a lot of my girlfriends' stories of guys they date, or husbands, or whoever, boyfriends or exes. And what you said before, they don't treat them right. They do not treat them right. Now we have guys we're boys with, the girls don't treat them right. Of course, I'm just using this as an example.
Sure.
These guys do not treat these girls right whatsoever. And I know some of them apologize to those guys. Don't do it. You didn't do anything wrong. Why are you apologizing? But it's like almost like that conditioning or that grooming or whatever word is popular nowadays. It's something. And I feel bad for a lot of them. They realize it later on that the guy was a real piece of shit, or didn't treat them right, or just not a good human. And it's unfortunate because it does maybe jade them for future, which I completely understand. We've been there. And it makes an actual nice guy's job that much harder. So
yeah, and it's not fair to either party because they're both being robbed of something that could be potentially fulfilling.
Absolutely.
So again, being careful, you don't bring baggage from one to the next. It's like check your bags at the door.
You can bring baggage. Don't let them carry it. Keep it separate. Which eventually I think you should just get rid of it because it's just added weight that I don't think you'll need moving forward. But if you want to bring it, but don't let them carry it. If they're gonna fuck up, let them fuck up. I'm a firm believer. I start at 0 trust and I earn it. Some people start at 100 till it's chipped away. That's however you do it, it's you. It's fine. But give somebody a legitimate chance, because I think you would want a legitimate chance if the roles were reversed, and they probably could be if you really think about it. So, and listen, I'm guilty of not doing it in the past, and it is what it is. but I'm sure it's also happened to me too. Whatever.
Yep. I give people full carte blanche, but once it's gone, there's no turning back. Like
That's
once the
good. I'm
trust is
opposite of
broken,
you. I'm zero. You got to earn it every day.
yeah,
And some people were like, "Oh, that's kind of messed up." I'm like, "No, it's not messed up because I'm starting at zero for myself with you. I will earn it every day." So I expect the same, and I'll do the same too. It's a complete two-way
right.
street. I'm not taking advantage of. I'm not going to start you at zero, and expect you to start me at 100. That doesn't work. That's not fair. All right, so I'm going to put you at zero. You earn it. I will do the same thing, and we can earn it together.
Yeah, and it's a good way of doing it. I understand people are human; they make mistakes. I get
Mm-hmm.
that.
Of course.
But when when trust gets violated, where if I ask you to do something and it repeatedly doesn't get done,
Mm,
or it's just being like looked over or not really give attention to, I'm the type of person that's I slowly pull away, pull away, pull away, pull away, pull away, and next thing you know,
mm.
I'm gone. I don't I don't entangle myself with disputes. I just that could be a good thing, could be a
Mm-hmm.
bad thing. I'm not avoiding anything,
Yeah.
but it's my way of going out with
Mm-hmm.
some humility instead of like being labeled something that
Yeah.
I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I think I let people have carte blanche, but it only takes one thing, and that's not good either. It only takes one thing,
Yeah.
one, and
It also
I'm done.
depends on the heaviness of that one thing. I mean, if it's like
True.
a minor thing, okay, take a step back, whatever, and see what happens. But if it's
Right.
something major, nah, that's that eject button. I'm out.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Slowly, it's a slow. It's like what
Like
we
if you're
should have done
lied,
in
like if you're
Afghanistan withdrawal.
if you're like lied to, no,
Yeah.
nope, 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 nope.
Yeah. So, I think with your sorries and your apologies, they need to be contrite, they need to be sincere.
Yeah,
But if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you keep apologizing for the same thing over and over again, then there needs to be an intervention somewhere. Say, well, if I keep saying, Greg, gee, I'm sorry for this, or I'm sorry for that, then I need to step back and realize, shouldn't I like try to correct this so I don't have to apologize to him anymore? Like whether you think it's a big deal or not, for me,
hmm
it's like I feel bad because I keep screwing up. And it's like, okay, I need to step back and look at me and say, hey,
hmm
why do you keep repeating the same behavior?
yeah,
And if you need professional assistance, then seek it.
yeah. I used
You
to
know,
when someone apologized a lot, I would ask them, Aren't you tired of apologizing all the time? It's got to be
yeah,
exhausting. Something's
yeah,
got to change or shift or something.
you know,
Something's got to
you know,
some lights got to go off in your head. Like, man, here I am apologizing again for the same thing. It's like, well, fix it then, or at least try to
yeah,
fix it. So,
yeah,
but you got to want to fix it, or else it's never going to get done. And there's a lot of therapists out there that suck and that just want your money and will prolong helping you. Listen, you and I spoke offline about the best therapists are the ones that you don't have to see forever. There is an end date. They give you the proper tools, and maybe you might, let's just say you see them once a week. Maybe you see them once a week for a year or 2 years, whatever. You shouldn't be seeing them once a week for fucking 10 years. Sorry.
no,
It should taper off a little, maybe do a touch base here and there because they provided you everything that you needed to fix or figure out or deal with whatever you're dealing with. So,
yeah.
yep.
No, I agree, and I think that's a great way to kind of put the bow on this episode. It's a tough topic because
Yeah.
words matter.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, actions and words, there needs to be some type of congruency there. But I think words definitely matter. Sorry matters, and that
Yeah.
term is kind of like love or like organic. It gets
Yeah.
thrown around so much, but people don't really understand the ramifications behind their apology. What are you
Yeah. Like,
apologizing for? Why are you
yeah.
apologizing? No.
People are always like that word love bombing. Oh, they love bomb me. And, it's sorry bombs too. It's the same thing. It just,
Yeah.
it should only be said if and when it's necessary. And I just think I would like people to have a little bit more self awareness and self confidence. You don't always have to apologize if you didn't do anything wrong.
It should be said out of necessity and not fear. It should be a necessary thing. It should be
Yeah.
hey, I need to apologize instead of saying I have to apologize.
Yeah.
It's like getting to pay your bills versus wanting to pay your bills.
Yeah. Listen, I'm drunk leaving Tao and I get into the wrong limo. I'm
Oops.
sorry. I'm going to apologize. I messed up. So I will apologize. Okay. Might not have been me,
Or
but
like, hey, I'm sorry I got so drunk that I almost got my friends arrested. That's on me.
another good
I mean,
example.
allegedly.
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 I mean, if that were to happen, I think that person should take responsibility for them getting,
Here's a funny story. We were all on the motorcycles and we went to this really shady bar. I don't know how some of my friends found these places. It's somewhere in Florida. Couldn't tell you. It was like stepping back into time. It was crowded. It was a big parking lot. We were probably 30 deep that night. So a lot of bikes. We were the only bikes there. And out in this big parking lot, way out was just a Corvette by itself.
I love Corvettes.
I don't know what we were. There were parking cones for some strange reason outside the bar.
Mm,
And I don't know. Everyone's like, oh, how far can you throw it? I'm like, I don't know. Let me find out.
right.
There's one car in the parking lot way out there. As soon as I released the cone, I went, oh no. Pew. When it goes up, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And it just smacks the Corvette. Alarm goes off, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit. This guy comes out absolutely fuego. And I completely understand why he is, because I would be too.
Oh my
And
God.
I'm like, oh my God, this is bad. And he's like, who the fuck did this? Like, he went nuts. And all my friends are like, don't apologize. Like, you don't have to apologize. And I'm like, listen, guys, like, because they wanted it to go a different way. And it was a pretty tough crew that night. I was like, guys, I got this. Don't worry. So I was like, I did it. And he like looked at me and he was like, shit, because I was a bigger guy back then. And I'm with these freaking animals, so it's like it
Right.
wouldn't really have gone well for him. But I'm like, listen, let me talk to you, and I walked with him out there. It didn't damage the car, thank God. But I was like, listen, I am fucking sorry. And he was like, what? I'm like, I am truly sorry. I'm a car guy too. This wasn't complete accident. I did not aim for your car. My stupid friend dared me to see how far I could throw a cone, and I stupidly did it, and I happened to hit your car. I am sorry. If there's anything I can do, if you want a detail, let me know, blah, blah, blah. And it was a genuine apology, and he was cool with it, thank God. But, like, man, felt bad. Felt bad. But
Love Corvettes.
in my opinion, I had to apologize. That's just wrong. Just wrong. That warranted it. So
Mm-hmm.
don't throw cones,
Nice.
people. Don't throw parking cones. Take it from me.
Nice.
One car in an entire lot, and I hit it. Anyway. Anything
But it
else,
all
Mike?
worked out in the end, Greggy C.
Thanks to the apology, it all worked out. Yep.
And that was a necessary apology. A
It
necessary
was. It
sorry.
was. It was. Because my crew
So,
didn't want me to. They wanted the tough guy, or you don't have to do that. Like, F him and blah, blah, blah. No. I have to do it. I go, if somebody knocked your bike down, you don't think that you want them to apologize? Of course you do. Let me handle this. So anyway.
Get your moral compass out, folks, because it's going to help navigate a lot of your choices and a
Yeah.
lot. And listen, not every choice you're going to make is good. You're going to
No.
fall flat on your face, but you got to get back up. And like Greg just proved with that example, like, hey, he took it on the chin. He owned
Yep.
up to it. And I think if you can apologize with accountability, say sorry with contrite, say sorry
Yeah.
for a reason, not just sorry to
Yeah.
pacify someone, but if it comes from a good place, 9 times out of 10, it's all going to work out.
And I gave him a solution. Do you want a detail? Do you want it touched? Like
Right.
anything, like let me know. I will take care of it. So I didn't just say sorry, like whatever, deal with it. Like, no, if there's damage, I will take care of it. So
Sorry, deal with it. That's great. I would have loved to have seen that. Yeah, I'm sorry, deal with it. Oh, that'd be some conversation.
That's probably happened too in the past, but we won't go there tonight.
Oh,
We'll keep it positive. Mhm.
yeah.
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 Anyway.
So good chat tonight, Greg T. This is really good.
Yes, sir.
Again, we tackle tough topics.
Mhm.
Conversation starters. We get the fire going, and hopefully this will bleed
Real
into people's lives.
conversations.
And yeah,
real conversations. None of this
Yeah.
bullshit.
yeah, it's just keeping it real. And listen, if you help one person and that person helps another person and so forth,
That's it.
we're making a difference. Making an
I'm
impact.
all
So,
about mindset and confidence, which will open up doors in every aspect of your life. It will. So, anyway, thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Remember, foreverprogress.com, Forever
Yep.
Progress on Instagram. Look at Greg and T's LinkedIn bio on LinkedIn. As I just said that. You can read my bio, and it's biopic coming out again on empowermanpodcast.com. Greg and T, it's been real as always, my friend. Thank you for your time. Thank you all to our listeners. We love you all, and God bless.
America first.